welcome to Arts Alive, right here on 95. And it's my pleasure today to be with me today, Alex Stylos, who is the new director. I don't know if I have your title proper. I don't think I do.
I own the place.
You own the place, then that's it. What used to be, some of you may have visited this in your past lives, and for some reason or another, but it's the district, what used to be the district courthouse in Taunton, and is now the district center for the arts. And I have been several times, as Alex knows, and this is it's a fabulous venue. And what a marvelous job you've done with that place. It's incredible. It's just, it really is. I mean, you walk in and it's like, wow, the stage and the seating, all of it, and nice little bar area in the back for people who are interested in buying something, and it's great. So why don't we start by, tell us a little bit about Alex, you know?
So I grew up kind of like an army brat in that we seemingly moved every 4 or 5 years. My father was a cancer research scientist, so we went to where Dad would get the cancer research grants until later in his career he was hired as Director Secretary of Immunology at the NIH in Bethesda, Maryland, essentially responsible for handing out those cancer research grants and putting groups of doctors together and looking at applications and then going visiting the site. So we're really proud of Dad. He set the bar very high for us.
Well, he certainly did. Yeah, that's great.
And so, you know, I got to learn a little bit about, did some growing up in Washington, D.C., but Massachusetts was always home. So when I got out of college, I kind of found myself back here and found myself doing different things. And, you know, I kind of got the construction bug. And so that kind of transformed into wanting to develop properties. And I kind of got the bug of really falling in love with old buildings. And then I got pretty good at restoring them and trying to figure out how to work with them and give what the buildings would take, what they would give you per se. And when I came across the old district courthouse, there was a local group that had some interest that wanted to buy it from the county. They got an original purchase and sale, but after a grant doing a design, they realized they really couldn't afford what it was going to take. So the county put it back out onto the street for bid. And
what were they looking at? I'm just curious to know, what were they looking at for money for that as a...
So they...
more or less.
They were looking at about $1.6 million. It was a little over their head at the time. They had
a fair amount of money.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, this was the Downtown Taunton Foundation. And, you know, they had a great leader at the time who now is head of Whale in New Bedford by the name of Terry Bernhardt. And Terry was really instrumental in making it all happen, but at the end of the day, it went back out, and I had my eye on it, and I started looking at it more and more, and I'm like, across the street is a municipal lot, parking lot that's free every night and every weekend. So that passed the smell test. There's 300-car parking lot that's not going to cost anything for people that would come.
To come, exactly. Yeah.
So that kind of inspired me to really see what the vision could be. And, you know, one thing led to another. We ended up with some amazing sound and lighting professionals that came in, you know, old hippies from the 70s that really knew what they were doing, and they've set up other music venues like the Spire in Plymouth, which is an awesome place, and the Greasy Luck in New Bedford. So, you know, we brought on people that did things that we didn't know how to do, but we knew what we wanted to make out of it. So, so we got into the restoration, and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, we're measuring between the windows to see if we can kind of come up with an art kind of feel to it. And so we had Arrested Legends painted in comic strip style art, which is layers of coloration. It allowed me to keep with the earth tones in the room and had some color that would pop. And then, you know, next thing you know, we're treating the room with sound absorption panels, and it's becoming a real music venue. And so as we got going, and the sound and the lighting is highly professional, we're like, we have to put professional acts in here. So we tried a whole number of different things here early. We've really only been open for a year at this point. And we found kind of a niche, and it's, you know, bringing in acts from out of town that don't play around here a lot, so that people can really see some unique things. And so far it really it's taken off to a point where I'm happily surprised. I'm really glad where it's going. This weekend we'll have sellouts number 11 and 12 consecutively to start the new year, and we feel very fortunate.
Now, Were you able to, I'm just curious to know whether or not you were able to pull into any of the public monies that are available for restoration of the Commonwealth, I think it's Commonwealth or Community Preservation Act, might be the Community Preservation Act for taxes that comes out of the tax base of a town or city.
Right.
Were you able to pull into any of these?
I don't think. Well, it only
funds? No.
happens in the municipality that you're located in. Taunton, I don't believe, has a CPA.
Oh, it might not yet. Yeah, that's something they should be looking into.
They should.
Because Fall River's doing a lot with it. And I know New Bedford has one now too, and
Right.
it's an important thing to have.
Yeah, and I actually was, when I was on the radio in Fall River, I pushed hard for that because
that
I
to
knew that would
happen.
really help out certain things. At the time, the Abbey Grill, and very important old structures that mean a lot to
Right.
the city of Fall River, and in New Bedford the same thing. And so, yeah, we understand that. We are now really positioning ourselves to do it. We're kind of, after year one, we've kind of caught our breath. We've just launched a new multimedia system with a 14-foot drop-down screen and projectors, and now we're able to really capture the attention in a whole nother dimension with video, and so we still have a few things to do. We're bringing 400 or 500 people into the downtown, and we're helping fill up the restaurants in the downtown, and it's kind of a little renaissance going
Yeah,
on.
the last time that we went, we ate at, well, the first time we ate at I think it's La Familia, which is just outside the city.
Right.
The second time, we ate at a wonderful Mexican restaurant, which was like, a block, 2 blocks away from the venue.
Right, El Mariachi is right on the
El
green.
Mariachi, that was it, and it was a wonderful place.
And
yeah.
then there's a Portuguese restaurant that's not a couple buildings away from there called the Pearl. That they're starting to be, downtown Taunton is starting to become a really fun, safe destination. For us, our shows, the doors open at 7, shows begin at 8, and everybody's on their way home by 10:30 or 11
Yeah.
o'clock at night. And we walk people across the street so that nothing bad happens on our watch, and we have we hire police details to assist with that, and we feel good that we're not a nightclub. We aspire to be a destination like the Narrows. We aspire to be a destination like the Spire Center. And when I first got going in the first 6 months, it was frustrating because I was researching and I was trying to find the path, and I'm watching all these other places do it successfully, and just like you were telling me off air about how when the Narrows started, they would have some of the best shows that nobody would see, and we went through the whole thing, and it was like, wow.
It's a whole learning process.
It is,
yeah.
it's expensive
People don't
tuition.
know, if people don't know what's going on, and/or how to get there, and/or how to get a ticket, and all that good stuff, then they're not coming. They just don't know, and that's the secret, at least in large part. And you obviously have broken through that, because now people do know. And I know both times that I was there, once in December, once in January, sold out both times, and great, acts. You seem to have a little bit of a niche with the
Tribute acts.
Tribute acts, exactly, tribute bands and so forth, which is nice.
And that, to be honest, Kathy, is a cause and effect of learning what was working there, And once I saw it working there, and they, these bands and these agents also see it because it's all out there on social media, then they come to you, and now you're starting to make decisions that you think are best for your venue, and that's kind of where it led us to where we're at now, and we're, and again, we bring a lot of people into the downtown, and I think our next biggest development in the building is to put a kitchen in so that we can supply food and food service to our amazing music and performing arts.
Actually, it was going to be my next question, whether or not you felt that at some point in time you'd add that as an opportunity.
I've already
for people to
started
have
collecting
something there.
cooking equipment. It's collecting dust that needs to be cleaned up. But
That
it's,
be in the downstairs area?
yes,
Is that
yeah.
what you envisioned
Yeah,
for that?
yeah.
So, actually, the first time that I recall that we met Alex was, ironically, I was directing a play called A Few Good Men, which we did right here at VCC, which is where the show airs from. And you were hosting a show at the time on WSAR Radio. And I later went to the courthouse, however, I think it was Superior Court in Taunton, and borrowed furniture from that courthouse to using the show. It was very, John Mitchell, who was a former mayor in Fall River and as county commissioner, sort of arranged for that to happen, and they were very generous in letting me borrow the things because it made all the difference.
Sure.
As set pieces, as you can imagine.
Right.
So why don't we talk a little bit, go back just a little bit and talk about this. If I think of that courthouse, which is close to the other one that you're in now, the district, you know, I think, wow, how could that ever happen? How would they ever convert that into a performing arts space? So just talk a little bit about how that actually came to be.
It's an interesting story in that our building, the district, was actually opened in 1826, the same year Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died 5 days within each other.
Almost 200 years
That's
ago.
right.
Yeah.
And when it was originally opened, it was actually sited in front of where that Superior Courthouse is now.
Really?
And in 1892, they picked it up and moved it over 2 building lots so they could build that. And then they still operated as another courthouse for another 90 or so years.
You probably didn't need all those other differentiations of Superior District and all that in those days. It was the courthouse.
Right. So it was a 200-year-old courthouse, and it was was a courtroom on the 2nd floor, and it was a very historic one. And you could really tell when you started digging into the bones. And what we ended up was there was a 4 different level gallery where people would sit waiting for a court. And then across the room was where the judge sat. So we had to take one of those 4 different levels of that gallery and establish a stage height. And then we started from there, and we opened the floors, we sound insulated everything, and then we went back with new finishes. You know, the historic, black and white checked floors. That's your dance floor.
Yeah.
And pretty much just restored what else was there, and restored the old windows and just bringing them back to life. And
beautiful.
And so that felt good. And then it just the art came on the walls, and the judge's chamber turned into a very serviceable bar room, and with the mahogany walls and all the secrets that were told.
Right, without a doubt.
We even took an old phone booth, and we had a little old-fashioned prison cell made, and we're having a bust made of Lizzie Borden, and we're putting Lizzie in jail for life.
For life, so, right? Yeah.
And so
the real verdict on that.
Yes, exactly. And Lizzie Borden actually did spend a night in the Taunton police station at one point during her process of going to trial.
She made her way pretty much around Bristol County, didn't she?
The girl got around, didn't she?
She did, yes, she did.
So tons of history, and I think it lends itself to some civic pride within Taunton to see how one of their most historic structures now can be a true destination for what folks can really relax and enjoy, and again, feel safe, feel comfortable, see a top shelf performance, not pay a ton of dough, have parking across the street, and go home, and all of a sudden they turn around and look at the building and they're like, wow, 4 big Greek columns, and
beautiful.
And
it is beautiful.
It feels good.
And it should. And this is what we really, we need more of. Now we have the 3 within this area of Bristol County, which would be the Z and the Zeitarian in New Bedford, the Narrows here in Fall River, and the District Center for the Arts in Taunton. So that's a very nice mix of offering up of the arts within these 3 areas, and nice, so nice, I think, that you were able to find people that agreed with a concept such as this. I'm sure there were people who would have said, no, let's do housing. Housing will work versus did you run into any of these attitudes, or was it all sort of easy on?
Well, when people saw what we were doing, they kind of got out of our way because they wanted to see if we could actually pull it off.
Right? Yeah, of course.
Because if we could, it would be such a get for the city of Taunton, and so, when I come to a new town or city within Bristol County, they know who I am a little bit from what we've done in the past. But they also hand you the book. So now here is what you need to do to change the use. And essentially it's kind of, put the elevator on, put a sprinkler system in, upgrade the fire alarm, do what you got to do, and widen the doors. And we did it all. And it's because we knew that needed to be done, because this is what we do for a living. And so our background in restoring older buildings became important because, again, once you fight with that building and you start, putting things that, that are going to be expensive by changing, you don't need to do it. Work with it.
Right, right.
And we worked with it, and we came up with what we thought was the best. And, it's not a huge room, but we can get 260 people in to see a show, and and that's just enough because, for us, that's a large enough crowd to handle. And our crowds have been so respectful of the district that, we don't ever have any real problems per se. And, people every night we have a performance will come up to me and they're blown away by it. And I have to tell you, Kathy, it's so humbling to continually meet new people that are like, wow, we've never really been in a place like this before.
That's great, yeah.
And that's
I like the small numbers too. Sometimes I think places grow much too big. I like that idea of the intimacy of a smaller venue, where you almost feel like you're part of it all. Everything's kind of so close that you're almost right there. It's up close and personal, as they say in the line. And I think that's a great offering for something, and sort of sets a venue out a little bit. Like you, and I'd put the Narrows in there too. They've grown in their space, but I think they're pretty much at max now as far as they won't continue to grow, I don't think, within that performing area. And they're at about 420, I think, now. So that's, those are nice spaces to have. They don't all have to be 1,000 and more seating to be a success.
And I totally agree with you, because I think that where the world is going now, we'd rather be in a smaller venue than going to Gillette Stadium to see, spend $500 between parking, a meal, and a ticket for, a world famous person.
To sit, over there somewhere.
Hey, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And I have to also say, too, that I think one of the things that makes us really special is our staff. Our staff greets people with a smile. We seat people down. We have a group of volunteers that are essentially ambassadors of the building. They'll show people.
They are,
and
definitely.
They tell you the history. If you want something, you want to learn more about tickets or a show, everybody's just so incredibly friendly. And I think it's the vibe of the district that rubs off, and everybody really loves it that works with us. And I'm really so proud of them. And if you come to a show and you'll see the folks with the lanyards on, and you can tell that they really like being there.
Oh, I think they do. Those that I saw certainly do, and they were very helpful, I must say, too. How did you get involved? Where does this love for the arts come from with you? I mean, construction is one thing.
Right. And so once you know that you can make something special, and that's the route that you're going to go down, go for it all. Make it super special. And in this particular case, the focus and the vision was, again, to look around and see that you don't have anything like that in
No
Taunton.
performing arts,
And
no.
so let's do it, and let's see where it goes. And the superintendent of schools, John Cabral, has been awesome. We want to develop more educational programs. Not a whole lot goes on at the district during the day. It would be perfect.
Perfect. Oh, yeah, for children's programming.
We're establishing, a retired attorney has been working with me for a while. He's establishing a high school poetry reading every month. We're having our first one next month. And I told him, John, I'm going to give it to you for free, but you got to keep coming back to the district. I don't just want to be one and done. I want to establish some really cool things like a poetry reading and get kids involved. And we have an art gallery that we would love to learn more about local artists that want to show their art in the district. And again, you've got 500 people walking into the building every weekend at this point, and there's a ton of exposure for that. And we have some amazing artists already, but with room for more.
And I mean, so much opportunity within that building offers up to offer a variety of things, which is fabulous, in addition to the architecture of the place itself.
Well, that kind of answers your question. The architecture of the place itself really spoke to being able to do something unique. And if you're going to do it, you better rely on the facade of your building, the kindness of your staff, the vision of putting national acts into it to give Taunton, and to give the northern section of Bristol County a real place for outstanding, unique entertainment. And so far, I mean, we got a seat at the cool kids table in Taunton.
Well, isn't that a nice thing? Yeah. Well, we're all ending up with that, Alex, thanks to you and the vision. And I encourage all of you to search online for the District Center for the Arts in Taunton. Alex Stylos here is your man to see, and he will help you in any way he can. You can get tickets online, which is fabulous.
DistrictArtsCenter.com is our email, our website, and it's totally functional. And same with you can buy tickets through Facebook, or you can ask questions. And a lot of people that don't come in for a first time, they want to know where to park. They want to know, other things about, where to get something to eat, or where, tons of things.
How it all works, so and upcoming acts and all that.
Upcoming acts,
right.
and then those that are starting to really get to know you, then they start to give you suggestions of who to bring in. And
that's not so bad. That's not so bad.
You got to check it out.
Yeah. So let's go back to the all of this major reconstruction work that had to be done on this this nearly 200-year-old courthouse. Tell us about, how do you begin? I guess is my question.
That's a good question.
Even know.
I learned long
where
ago.
To start.
I learned it was about a 9-month period process of major renovations. And the first thing you do start with is you better make it watertight. And when we bought the building, the facade of the building was falling apart. So we wanted to catch a break before the winter of
right.
And so we spent a lot of time restoring and having trim boards milled to match the old trim boards, because I wanted to go back with the same thing that was rotting away and was breaching water. So and then we got up on the slate roof and we started to restore the slate roof, and we then went to the window. So we really took care of the building envelope to make it watertight. That way your future investment of all the time that you're going to spend on restoring the inside of the building will be protected, and you won't be doing any of that stuff twice. So then came the inside, and we had some walls that were slightly deteriorated because of water damage, but not too bad. And then we took the floors apart, and we then had, when we first bought the building, it was heated by a steam system at the old Superior Courthouse, 2 buildings away, and a steam line ran across alleyways. And so when I bought it, they cut it off. So now you have a steam system, but no power origination or fuel origination. So that was a big challenge. So what we did is we converted the steam system into a forced hot water system, and essentially reworked every one of the 58 radiators. We brought in 2 new high-efficiency boilers and brought in a steam line off of a gas line off of Court Street to fire all of this up. And that was really the biggest challenge, because one of the things about these old buildings is, even a really old building, is that the heating systems worked, design worked. Don't tear it out if you don't have to.
Right.
Work with it. So we went and we realized that the radiator system worked, and so we have air conditioning units now, but our future plan is to have a central AC system to go with that. We also want to build out the rooftop. That's another, we have a beautiful flat roof that looks over the new courthouse, and a future plan is to do some rooftop space and try to bring a set of stairs up there, and then the elevator came. And elevators are really tough in these old buildings, especially these postage stamp type lots, because where are you going to put it? You're going to drop it in the middle of the building. Well, how are you going to get to it? So we found a nice spot, and it's tricky, because now you have to dig down about 14 feet, and now you're below the bottom of the foundation. You're essentially undermining the foundation of the building so that you can put an elevator shaft in. And so that's what we did. We were very careful. We brought the same team that had just done the same thing at a school in Fall River, and it's like, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. And then came the elevator shaft, the elevator enclosure, and then the finishes came. But it really just became one step of making it healthy, and then going after the utility work, bringing in the sprinkler system, all that goes with it. you know, we've been able to restore the 200-year-old Revere bell that we ring before the shows.
Nice. Yeah.
And, you know, the bell tower, we restored that. It was essentially falling apart, but it was a big part of the character of the building. And, you know, we were going to go at it, let's go at it. So we got into the bell tower, we banged out a couple of the fins, and we built ourselves a platform all the way around it so that we could put railing systems up. My guys could work on it, and within 3 weeks it was up, it was down, the bell tower was restored, and, you know, just another tiny little feather in our cap, because, you know, you don't want to change it, you want to stay with it, and that also felt good. So a ton of little things went into it. Mostly the utility stuff and the finishes on the inside, which were a challenge. And, you know, when you open up things, you never know what you find. And when we opened up the floor on the second floor, we found these old brick pavers that were the floor, but it was all 14 inches below the floor. So you knew at some point when this building was built, you know, and opened in the 1820s, they had brick pavers as a floor of this second floor courtroom that nobody in our lifetime would even know existed.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you deal with that, and
how would they get them there? No, not physically get them there, but I mean, imagine trying to make that work as a floor.
And then, you know, at some point in time over the course of the last 200 years, they built the floor up and covered all over it. And that's the type of thing that you find and you learn, and you're like, okay, what are we gonna do with this? So that was a kind of a position, a point in time where we got a better feel for what we were dealing with, and just, you know, make your best at it.
And the show is airing in March. What do you have, to just jump for a minute into another topic, but why don't you share with all of us some of the upcoming acts that you have and going forward? Okay,
and I'll do this by memory. Early March we have a Leonard Skinner tribute act coming. We've got a Michael Jackson act coming in March, and essentially we have a comedy series that we have a Boston comedy promoter that places acts in 12 different clubs, and we do it once a month. They come in, and tonight we have a sold-out show with Boston comic Steve Sweeney and two other really popular, you know, guys that have been on Conan and The Tonight Show, and you know, we're just happy to bring them to Taunton, and so once a month, and we'll have comedy in March as well, and then April is a big month. We've got a Bruce Springsteen act coming in from New Jersey. We've got a Yes tribute act, which you don't really see a lot of that type of music, and we've got another Billy Joel act coming in, and another Journey act coming in, and down the road we've got John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band coming in. We've got the Fools that have already been to the district once. So, you know, we're bringing back the original acts that have done well, that really like the district, that want to, you know, come back over and over, and it feels good.
Well, I'm sure too, as we said earlier about the size of the venue, I'm sure that there are people who really like to perform in a space like that, where they also feel that kinship with the audience that they're sharing in this particular venue.
And I have to tell you, Kathy,
and they can see people. It isn't, you know, this, like you said, 1,000 and more sitting out there, which is a great feeling, I'm sure, to play to, but nonetheless, it's...
And, you know, we're novices to a point about stuff like that, but when we see, it seems like we bring out the best in these acts, that these acts really shine, and, you know, they take it serious, and they really love what they're doing, and, you know, those are the folks that we want to come back, because they get it. They get what we did.
Well, the last time I was there, it was the New York State of Mind group, and they're a Billy Joel tribute band, and they were fabulous. And the audience wouldn't let them go. They were on until after 11 o'clock. The show started at 8, right? Show started at 8, and they were on. It was 11 o'clock, and they were still going. The audience did not want them to leave. I wish you nothing but the best, Alex, in this wonderful new venture of yours, and we're fully supportive.